for you, so it's
Okay.
natural. Um, all right, so the Packers placed Aaron Rodgers on injured reserve after being knocked out of the playoffs, out of playoff contention. Do you think this is the right move, Stoyo?
I think it is. I don't think that Aaron Rodgers was 100% on Sunday. He had a bad game with turnovers. He was not his usual self. And it's giving Detroit a better shot to make the playoffs now because he won't be available for Week 17.
Yeah.
But it was a joy seeing Aaron Rodgers throw the season away. The Packers did what they had to do. They won game after game with Brett Hundley, and they thought the King was going to come back and lead them to victory. But no, the King came back and threw it all away.
I
I
think
take no greater joy in watching the Packers lose, but it
I,
was delicious.
I think it's kind of funny. It's almost like whatever Aaron Rodgers says goes. He said relax, and the fans eventually relaxed, and the Packers made the playoffs. He said we're going to run the table, and they pretty much did that. One game short of going to the Super Bowl, and he said I'm not here to save the season, and he definitely wasn't. Um. All right, the Jaguars hunt and eat the Texans 45-7 in Jacksonville, winning 45-7 to clinch a playoff appearance for the first time since 2007. Jags quarterback Blake Bortles throws for 326 yards and 3 touchdowns, combining for 900 yards, 7 touchdowns, 0 picks, and a 128.6 passer rating in the month of December. Safe to say Blake Bortles is red hot. Texans starting quarterback TJ Yates struggled, throws for 128 and a touchdown. Jags rookie wide receiver Keenan Cole catches 7 for 186 and a touchdown. Gavin, what do you think of the red hot Jags and Blake Bortles?
Yeah, it's impressive to see Bortles play like he has been, and even without not TJ Yeldon, but Leonard Fournette in this game, his star running back. So they are looking like they could be a real contender in the AFC this year. I think I might, if he can get one more week of this kind of play, Bortles that is, I might become a believer in the Jaguars, which I didn't think I'd be saying for another ever.
Yeah. Yeah, they're impressive. That defense is nasty. Their free agent signee, which might be the best one of the season, Calais Campbell, comes in and he improves to 14 and a half sacks on the year. And we all know that secondary is nasty with Jalen Ramsey and AJ Boye. It's a good team there in Jacksonville. What do you think of the Jags, Stoyle?
Yeah, it kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
People were thinking that they're going to crash and burn like what the Buffalo Bills usually do, but they kept it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, congrats to Blake Bortles because everybody's been trashing him since the beginning of the year. How he's a joke, how Jacksonville needs to replace him. And he was the third overall pick a few years ago. I mean, there was some talent supposed to be there, so good for him. He's off to a career best in QB rating and also completion percentage.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I remember.
if they get this kind of play out of the QB, they could maybe go places.
Yeah, absolutely. A great running game, great defense. I remember in the preseason, I believe it was week 3, the Jags started Chad Henne over Blake Bortles because they were so unsure about Bortles' potential and looking to see if Henne might be the answer. And he obviously wasn't. And it's good to see Bortles put together a solid month, and hopefully that translates into the postseason as well. Speaking of crashing and burning, the Rams absolutely destroy the Seahawks 42-7 at CenturyLink Field. The Rams improved to 10-4. LA dominated every phase of this game, eliminating the 12th man effect. Rams running back Todd Gurley continues his MVP season with 180 total yards and 4 touchdowns. Um, Rams are red hot. What do you think of LA, Gavin?
Yeah, I think the Rams, they might be the best team in the NFC for me
Yeah.
right now. To go into Seattle, I know that Seattle is missing some players in their defense, but Seattle is one of the toughest places to play, in all of the NFL, and they came out guns blazing, and Seahawks didn't have an answer for them. Not even getting on the board until late in the third quarter. The Rams defense shut down the Seattle offense, and the Rams offense was too much for the Seattle defense.
Yeah.
Which is impressive and the makings of a real contender.
Yeah. I'll tell you, it's crazy out here in Seattle. I've heard it all on the radio. Got fans saying that they should trade Russell Wilson, fans saying that they should fire Pete Carroll, fans saying that they've lost the locker room. It's crazy out here. Seattle fans don't know how to act. Stoyo, the Seahawks do have some locker room issues, though. Safety Earl Thomas questioned to the media after the game whether linebacker Bobby Wagner should have played through an injury. To be fair, Bobby Wagner was having a defensive MVP type season. Wagner took offense to it and responded on Twitter, "Yo, E, keep my name out your mouth," which was deleted soon after. What do you think of the drama going on in Seattle and this pretty poor effort at home?
Yeah, I don't care who you are, even if you're one of the best safeties in football right now, but it's not your place to call out your teammate on social media. Yeah, he was hurt, but at least he tried playing. And you lose as a team, especially defensively, and when 3 of your stud defensive players are out, it is very hard to make a playoff run.
Yeah.
And for the Seattle fans, if you want to fire Pete Carroll, please do right away, because I would gladly take him in Chicago.
Yeah.
Are you crazy? You want to trade Russell Wilson? You guys are nuts.
Yeah.
No way.
They're used to having things easy this last couple of years, and now a little craziness happens, and they don't know how to act. I mean, Gavin, despite all of this going on, do you see the Seahawks rebounding and making a playoff run?
No, I don't think they can. They're despite their record. On top of that, they've got so many injuries in their defense that I just don't think they're going to be able to come back. They've got the Cowboys next week in Dallas, and you've got the Cowboys also trying to make a push, and they're getting Ezekiel Elliott back. And if Todd Gurley can run all over the Seahawks in Seattle, I don't see Elliott having any issues doing the exact same thing to them in Dallas. So I don't see him winning that game, and they could probably beat the Cardinals at home the next week, but I think that's going to be too late for them.
Yeah, I agree. Tough year for Seattle. They went all in. They traded for guys like Sheldon Richardson and Dwayne Brown. They were trying to make one last run at a Super Bowl. Got an aging defense. We'll see if the crew sticks back together, comes back next year, and we'll see what the Seahawks do going forward. But a tough injury-hit season, and I wouldn't make any drastic changes. As far as the Earl Thomas stuff go, I agree completely with you, Stoyo. You might be a star safety on the team, Earl Thomas, but it's not your job to call out who plays and who doesn't. That's the coach's job, and just go out there and do your job, and everything else will happen. The best game of the season, I believe, so far, the Patriots come through in the clutch at Heinz Field against the Steelers with a 27-24 win. Tom Brady throws for 298 and a touchdown, including a game-winning drive. Tight end Rob Gronkowski dominates. 9 catches, 168 yards, including a 2-point conversion. Steelers' Ben Roethlisberger throws for 281, 2 touchdowns, but a costly interception in the end zone after a fake spike with seconds remaining. You can't talk about this game without mentioning that Big Ben engineered a clutch drive. went all the way down and included what should have been a game-winning touchdown pass to Jesse James, only to have the catch ruled incomplete. Stoyo, what do you think of this call, this game, and the outcome?
I think it was a great game.
Yeah.
In the first half, I was going back and forth between this game and the Seattle Rams game. And when that game was clearly over by half, I just remained and watching this game. What a battle! It had such a playoff atmosphere throughout the whole game, and it came down to the wire. And when Tom Brady got sacked with a few minutes and New England had to kick a field goal, I texted you on the next drive that they need to convert for a first down.
Yeah.
And if they don't, they're going to need to double coverage Gronk, which they didn't. And I believe 4 out of 5 Brady throws went to Gronk, and they just marched down the field, and Gronk was also targeted for the 2-point conversion. So I don't know what the Steelers did defensively. But yeah, then I felt that Pittsburgh came back and scored that touchdown. To me, that's a touchdown. I can see how the ref don't call it a touchdown, but I just want some consistency.
Yeah. I agree.
On any given day, I feel like different refs would call something else. It's hard to know what's a catch in 2017.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I feel like Roethlisberger, they made that drive that should have been a touchdown. 100 times out of 100 times, to me, that's a touchdown. If you want to say that he broke the plane and then fumbled, I could give you that, but he recovered his own fumble. If a running back crosses the goal line and fumbles, it doesn't matter. Once you cross the goal line, it's a touchdown. I think they should. I think they're overcomplicating the catch rule, and let's just call it for what it is. A catch is a catch. Let's stop going overboard with this. But I mean, you got to give credit to Clutch Brady and Gronk. I mean, Gronk is a beast out there. He's hard to cover, and you give it to Brady with 2 minutes or less in the game, and you know what's going to happen pretty much. Gavin, what do you think?
Yeah, first thing I'm going to call out Keith Butler, the defensive coordinator for the Steelers.
Yeah.
You, sir, are an idiot. Multiple times in key situations in this game, they single-covered Gronkowski, and the Patriots stacked the other side of the line, so it was just one-on-one. When they needed 2 yards for a 4th down conversion in Steeler territory, they did this. When they needed that 2-point conversion, they did the same thing on the opposite side of the field. And all they do is they throw it high to Gronk, who's, I don't know how much bigger he is, but he's significantly larger than any cornerback you're going to put on him. And you cannot single cover Rob Gronkowski. I don't know what you were thinking. You pull that safety down and leave everyone else on an island. You double cover Gronkowski, especially in critical situations like that. It's ridiculous that they leave stuff like that up to a guy that's got 50 pounds and 4 inches less than the guy he's covering. That's just ridiculous.
I agree completely. Whatever happened to making adjustments in game? I agree. You can't double Gronk the entire game because the Patriots are going to figure it out and expose other problems. But I agree completely. In the clutch, with the game on the line, take away the best option. And Gronk is that big and that strong that you can throw it up to him. You gotta shut Gronk down. You gotta at least pretend like you're trying to stop him. I agree completely, Gavin. What do you think of the whole catch situation? I know that's come back to bite your Lions before.
Yeah, I'm calling that the Calvin Johnson rule.
Yeah.
Anyone's talked to me about it knows that. I think, according to the letter of the law, that was not a catch. When he hit the ground for the first time, the ball did adjust.
Yep.
There have been some people that have argued that his hand was under the ball, and so it shouldn't have been overturned because there wasn't enough evidence. And I can see that, but all that aside, I think that they need to adjust the rule for the catch. If I remember correctly, they made this rule the year before the Calvin Johnson Chicago Bears incident because of a catch where, I believe it was Louis Murphy for the Raiders, came down in the end zone. He landed on his butt, and the ball popped out, and it was ruled a catch. And so then they changed the rule, and there's been multiple instances in critical games where the rule that they made has come back, and everyone other than the fans of the team that were on the right side of the call said that it was a mistake. Whether it was Calvin Johnson, whether it was Des Bryant in the playoffs, or this game now, everyone thinks it's a catch other than the officials.
Yeah.
And I agree with the call. I think the refs made the right call based on what the rules are, but if you're playing street ball, if you got a panel of 50 of the best receivers in the league and you had them vote on whether that was a catch or not, I'm guessing you're going to have a pretty high percentage that say that's a catch. And I think that they're trying to make it too cut and dry, make it black and white, so that they avoid situations where, like, it was up to the referee's discretion. They're trying to take it out of the ref's hands and make it, cut and dry. But I think in this situation they need to leave it up to the discretion of somebody, because everyone that isn't a Patriot fan, and even my father-in-law, who is a Patriot fan, said, yeah, that's a catch. They got screwed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I will continue to say that if you have possession of it and you cross the goal line, it's a touchdown. I
would even make an argument that he's down at the 1 or inside the 1 because his knee is on the ground.
Yeah, I mean,
and the ball is in the air and he has possession of the ball.
The problem is, though, he wasn't touched, so they want to continue it. But the thing is, that should count. If your knee touches and you're in possession of the ball, that means
you're in possession of the ball, right?
Yeah, I just don't understand. I think that they slow it down in replay. They look at every angle of it, and they're trying to call it incomplete. We all watch the game because we like to see plays happen. We don't like a catch to be dissected 30 different ways. If it's a catch, it's a catch. It's common sense. There's a lot going on in a football game, and, we want to see them get the calls right. I will say that anyone that says the ball didn't hit the ground once he was in the end zone is waving their terrible towel, because it obviously did. But a great game.
Yeah, but should it be a touchdown once the ball crosses the plane?
Absolutely. If you're in possession of it and it crosses the plane, that's a touchdown. And it's a tough call, and they need to change the rule.
I think the argument is that they were saying he didn't have possession because he hadn't established himself as a runner at that point, and technically hadn't made a football move. But when the guy catches the ball, turns his body, and then also extends. I mean, this is the Des Bryant catch all over again. He made a football move, but he hadn't established himself as a runner according to the rules, because he hadn't come down and completed the process.
Exactly. That's my
least favorite term in football.
That's a great point, because if Des Bryant or Jesse James were not attempting the score on the play, 90 guaranteed that's a catch. They make a catch because they're not diving out like that. The only reason those guys were diving out to the ground was to try to get a touchdown. If they catch the ball and fall on their back, they're not diving, the ball doesn't hit the ground, it's a catch every single time, so you're punishing players for attempting the score. It's a bad rule, change it, get it out of here. It's a shame that a call like that affected the outcome of this great game. But I'll be the first one to say I hope we get a rematch in the AFC Championship, because that was some great football.
It was, but now it looks like the Patriots are going to win home field advantage.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. The Steelers have more weapons, on offense at least. I think
depends on Antonio.
He's supposed to be back. I know that he got hurt in this game, but he's supposed to be back for the playoffs, was the last I heard. Hey, it's a tough game. It's going to be in Foxborough, but if the Steelers get another shot, you damn well know they're going to be hungry. So, all right, next game, the 49ers hand another crucial loss to the Titans. The Titans trying to fight for a playoff spot and have lost two straight that a lot of people would argue they shouldn't have lost. They lose 25-23 on a game-winning kick by Robbie Gould. San Francisco quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo improves to 3-0 as the Niners quarterback, throwing for 381 and a touchdown. Marcus Mariota throws for 241 and two touchdowns, but not enough. Niners wide receiver Marquise Goodwin, 10 catches for 114 yards. And the Niners kicker Robbie Gould goes 6 for 6 in the game, continues a solid season. Gavin, what do you think's wrong with the Titans as the playoffs approach?
They're not able to defend the pass. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo has been playing well throughout, the starts that he's had, but he was really picking them apart in this game. 31 for 43 for 381. You can't allow that if you're going to be a playoff team. They also struggled to establish the run. They're supposed to have these two great running backs, and they weren't able to get anything going on the ground really. They're still technically alive, but they've got really, really tough schedule going forward. They have the Rams in Tennessee,
yeah,
and then they have the Jaguars also in Tennessee, but they're facing two teams that are getting hot now while they're cooling down. So I see them falling outside of the wild card.
Yeah. Tough for the Titans. I mean, they got a good young quarterback. They got that running game. You'd think that they're good enough to make it to the playoffs, but it's all about when you get hot and when you're not. And right now, they're definitely cooled off and not looking great. Stoyo, what do you think of the Niners going forward? They got Kyle Shanahan, and now it looks like they've got their quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, I think the 49ers are going to be a good team next season.
Yeah.
They build through the draft. We got some good defensive players. I'm a fan of Garoppolo. I think he's going to be the first and only successful backup of Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And I believe the Bears should have gotten him. Of course, we didn't. And also, I would like to point out that he is throwing to a bunch of nobody receivers. I wouldn't consider one receiver that he has actual legitimate number one receiver.
Yeah.
He's just throwing the ball to a bunch of scrubs. And I think that Shanahan has also a lot to do with that. And the play calling has been in his favor.
Yeah. Yeah, play calling is very important, and Kyle Shanahan is proving it for a second year in a row that he's got the skills to coach very well and game plan very well on how to win games. So nice for the Niners. What do you think, Gavin?
I don't know if you could call a former Olympian a scrub when the guy's also getting 10 catches for 114 yards.
Marquise Goodwin.
Yeah, I think Marquise Goodwin will say, keep his name out your mouth. So,
He's a speedster.
If you can contact me, go ahead, sir. No, but he was a good Olympian, but as a wide receiver.
Right, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens next year when hopefully Pierre Garçon can come back fully healthy and maybe some growth with Goodwin now that he's had to be number one over the last few weeks.
Yeah.
And now they've got a legitimate quarterback and possibly a solid number one and number two receiver. And then Carlos Hyde shows flashes of greatness every once in a while. So if he can get that together along with those guys, they can have a pretty potent offense.
Yeah, and don't worry, Marquise. I'll get you Stoyo's contact information. Sunday night, the Cowboys somehow survive at Oakland, 20-17, to stay alive in the playoff hunt. Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott throws for 212 and two picks. Raiders quarterback Derek Carr throws for 171 and two touchdowns, but a costly fumble late that resulted in a touchback. During this game, the Cowboys needed folded paper assistance to pick up a 4th and inches quarterback sneak call, which I thought was pretty risky by Jason Garrett going for 4th down on his own 39. Raiders quarterback Derek Carr appeared to have the game-winning touchdown late, but lost the fumble out of the end zone, and that was it. Tough loss for Oakland, but an even bigger win for Dallas in the playoff race. Stoyo, do you feel like the Cowboys can make a run at the playoffs?
No, I do not.
Yeah.
They're 8-6 right now, tied with the Seahawks and the Saints and the Lions. I'm sorry. And yeah, those are two. They're gonna have two difficult games left against the Eagles and the Seahawks, and it's really hard to make the playoffs if you don't have the destiny in your hands. So if the Falcons win out and the Panthers win out, they're going to be out. So
Wow.
yeah, not this year.
What do you?
Maybe if Zeke Elliott would have taken his suspension a little bit earlier in the year, they could have a shot.
What
But
do you?
I think it's a little bit too late.
I'm gonna make a bold statement here and say that the Cowboys win out and go to 10-6. I don't know if that gets them into the playoffs or not. They're in a tough NFC, and they're not gonna win the division, so their only hope is for a wild card. But I think getting Ezekiel Elliott back is big. What do you think? Even if the Cowboys win out, do you think they have a shot, Gavin?
I don't think they're going to win out personally.
Yeah.
I think that the Seahawks after this last week's thumping, they're too proud to sit down, even on the road. Despite their defensive woes, I'm pretty sure that they'll still be able to get it done. And then the Eagles, it'll be interesting to see if they sit their starters in Week 17 since they've already clinched the first round bye. But I think that they'll try and keep at least Foles in there and get him some more reps under start. But back to the subject, I don't think the Cowboys will be able to make it even if they win out. Then I don't even think they'll do that. So
yeah.
Zeke getting back is obviously big, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Things could be too little, too late in a tough conference.
Ooh, Gavin, we might have to put some action on that Seahawks-Cowboys game.
Oh.
All right, Monday night, the Falcons get a big win in Tampa, 24-21 on a missed game-tying Matt Bryant field goal attempt. Atlanta quarterback Matt Ryan throws for 212 and a touchdown. Bucs quarterback Jameis Winston throws for 299, 3 touchdowns, including a clutch drive to get his team into position for a field goal, but it didn't work out. Falcons running back Devontae Freeman goes for 194 total yards and a touchdown. Big win for Atlanta, keeping their playoff hopes alive and eliminating Green Bay in the process. What do you think of the Falcons, Stoyo?
They took care of business, even though it was a little bit closer than what it should have been. This was a must-win for them, especially considering their schedule. They're facing the Saints next week, and on week 17, they're facing the Panthers. So by winning this game, they can go 1-1 and pretty much almost guarantee themselves a playoff victory because since they beat the Lions, they have owned the tiebreaker.
Nice.
And that was also a questionable ending to that game.
I don't want to talk about it.
But yeah, big win for Atlanta. They needed that one to go further into the season.
Yeah, talk about a game of inches, man. That one, I mean, it was killer when it happened, that Lions-Falcons game, but now it might become a factor. Gavin, what do you think the Falcons can do any kind of damage if they do make the playoffs?
I don't think so. They've struggled offensively and even defensively this year throughout. We've talked repeatedly about how tough the NFC is, how tough the defenses are.
Yeah.
The teams that are going to the playoffs. I don't think that they'll be able to win, especially on the road in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of pressure on Matt Ryan and those boys. So we'll see how that goes. But at least they got a win when they needed to there against Tampa Bay. Let's get to the Week 16 predictions. Let's start with Sunday, the 10-4 Rams at the 8-6 Titans. Where do you see this game going, Stoyo?
I'm going to go with the Rams.
Yeah.
I think the Titans are done.
Yep. Yeah.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah, I would agree too. Titans seem to be getting cold at the wrong time, and the Rams are firing on all cylinders. So we'll see how that game goes. The 9-5 Falcons at the 10-4 Saints. Saints looking for revenge on a loss a couple weeks ago. Where do you see this going, Stoyo?
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
I said, Falcons at Saints. Where do you see this one going?
Probably the Saints.
Yeah. Yeah, they need revenge after losing a couple weeks ago to Atlanta. What do you think, Gavin?
Yeah, I've got the Saints here. They're playing at home. Drew Brees at home, making a playoff push. Got them winning it.
Did you guys see that part about how that in that Falcon Saints game, one of the refs was an ex-Falcon?
Yeah.
I did see that, yeah.
What the hell? What the hell is that about? And the game comes down to Sean Payton not getting a timeout that he's trying to call. Like, how does the NFL allow that shit to happen?
There's some weird stuff going on. Like, the ref that did the tuck rule ended up never reffing in Oakland, but reffed like 17 Patriots games or something.
Wow. Gavin, you can't be. Imagine if the Lions and Bears were playing and there was an ex-Bear ref. How would you feel about that?
I would pay him. Buy him a beer, dude.
That's probably what happened.
I'd like to think that those guys have more integrity than that, but when it's a really questionable situation like that timeout in Atlanta, those types of things pop up, and
yeah,
I think that it probably happens more often than we realize. But in these kinds of situations, they get picked apart more and more, and these things come to light, as people research them and share them on social media. So I wouldn't read too much into it at this point, but it's interesting for sure.
I hope it doesn't happen more often, but we'll see.
There's actually no rule against it.
Well, maybe there should be.
I think there should be.
All right.
Subconsciously, you're definitely going to be biased.
Yeah, it's got to play a factor. I mean, I understand the refs are, trying to be professional and do their job right, but what if a little bit of that seeps into your subconscious and you make a call that is borderline and it some reason goes one way or the other? We just talked about it's a game of inches. Anything can happen, and I would hate to have an ex player of the other team reffing my game. Seahawks 8-6 at the Cowboys 8-6. Stoyo, where do you see this going?
I'm gonna have to pick the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Yeah, the old upset against the Cowboys at home. I believe in Pete Carroll and I believe in Russell Wilson, and hopefully they're gonna win.
Gavin, I already know where you're going. You're going Seattle?
Yeah, I'm going Seattle. I already stated before, they're Seattle too proud to sit down and let their season just disappear. They're still in the playoff hunt. They're right there with the Cowboys, and winning this game could be a critical tiebreaker. I think they'll be able to come back and shut down Zeke. He might be a little rusty after some time off. I know he's been training, but I think that they're a better team than the Cowboys are.
Gavin, let's put a sixer on this game or something. What's a good bet? Let's put a sixer. What do you drink, Gavin? What should I get you?
Anything from Fort George.
All right. Zeke Elliott, come through. You guys can go down on the Titanic if you want, but Seattle's a sinking ship, and Dallas is hungry. Zeke's back. Big win for the Cowboys. That's my prediction. All right. Stoyo, you'll be interested in this one. The 0-14 Browns at the 4-10 Bears. Do the Bears allow the Browns their first win of the year?
I hope not. Come on. I really want to win this game. Every game I wanted to win, the Bears lost this season. Every game. Let it be this one. This would be uber shameful if we lose the game. But in the games where John Fox is favored, he's 0-7.
Wow.
And he's favored against the Browns. So hopefully, he's not going to continue this trend. It would be, I don't know, it'd be so embarrassing. But I kind of would like to see what would happen after the game.
Yeah.
If we lost that game.
I'd like to
how Soldier Field would react and how Chicago as a city would also react, because it could be dangerous.
I'd like to see how Grandma McCaskey would take that loss. I gotta say, you'd like to think that the Bears could beat DeShone Kizer. But if we lose, what a statement way to go out for John Fox. So where do you see this?
I have no faith. I'm legitimately scared. I'm expecting the worst. I hope we win by 3 points or something.
I'll say Bears by, come on, Bears. I say Bears by 10. Gavin, where's this game going?
Oh, man, I'm going Browns all the way, baby. You know it. You got to break that streak, guys. Come on. Late in the season, get that last-minute win over a team that you should lose to. That's the Browns' way.
Yeah. Man.
I think the Browns should have won last week.
Oh, they absolutely should have. That was their real opportunity.
Yeah, against Green Bay.
Against the Brett Hundley-led Green Bay, absolutely.
Yeah.
At home, and they had no excuse, except they're the Browns. I guess that's a pretty legitimate excuse.
They were up in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
They had to convert one first down, and they couldn't do it. They decided to go pass.
Well, last year the Browns started 0-15 and got a win in the last game of the year. So, they'll be playing the Steelers. Maybe the Steelers will be resting somebody, and maybe that'll help them get it. I just hope to God it's not against the Bears. The Lions 8-6 at the Bengals, who are 5-9. You got the Lions taking this one, Gavin?
I sure do. They're needing to get a win here to stay in the playoff hunts, and the Bengals. Obviously, the announcement from Marvin Lewis wasn't motivation enough for them to step up in this last week, as they got absolutely trounced by the Vikings. So I think that the Lions, they'll want this one more, and they'll be able to come out with the win. Yeah. Especially with Pac-Man Jones being placed on IR. Yeah. So now their secondary, which is one of their strong points, is a lot weaker.
Yeah. What do you think, Stoyo?
I am guaranteeing a 6-0 victory.
Oh, that means they're losing.
It's not even close. AJ Green has got to drop 150 on them.
Against Pro Bowler Darius Slay?
Yes.
Leader in interceptions in the league? I don't think so.
Stoyo, AJ Green is not going to score 150 points.
150 yards.
Oh, okay, I got you. On a serious note, or kind of a sobering note, though, Vontaze Burfict has not been allowed to play since that Juju Smith-Schuster crackback block. He's still in concussion protocol. So it just goes to show that, any of these hits can be serious. And I think that losing Vontaze Burfict is part of the reason the Bengals have not shown up the last couple of weeks. And I don't know if he's going to be playing in this game or not. But, well wishes to Vontaze Burfict. People want to label him a dirty player or might say that this is karma. I say that's bullshit. When he's on the field, he's one of the best players in the game. He's a great linebacker. And I hope Burfict gets back out there soon. So, and
I want to change my pick then.
And my prediction for this game, Go Bengals. uh, just just for spite, just because the Lions beat us this week. The Lions are good enough to win. They're better than the Bengals. The Lions are trying to get into the playoffs. I'm just hoping that Cincy plays spoiler and wins by like a field goal. So yeah. Gavin, you think we're crazy?
All I know is anytime I pick the Bengals to win, they lose. So I'm hoping that it's the same for you guys.
Probably will be.
You guys want to pick the playoffs?
I don't know. We don't know who's going to be in.
Predictions? I mean, who's going to make it in as the wild cards?
Okay. Go ahead.
I have, in the AFC, the Ravens and the Chargers making it.
Wow.
I have the Bills losing 2 straight, and I have the Titans also losing.
Damn.
And then I have the Falcons and the Panthers making it in the NFC.
What about you, Gavin?
Yeah, I've got the Chiefs winning their division,
Yeah.
and the Jaguars as well, with the Patriots and Steelers already locking up the other two. And I have the Ravens making one of the wild card spots. Man, that's a tough one though with the Chargers.
Yeah.
They got the Jets and the Raiders. So I think those are both winnable, but the Bills, I can't believe you're picking with Jay Cutler in Week 17 against the Bills.
Gotta.
Stoyo.
The Bills have not been to the playoffs in this century. They have not.
I like
But
this.
it's Jay Cutler.
Yeah, but every once in a while, this is going to be Jay Cutler's last game in the NFL. He's going to be
Swan song.
Yeah, he knows it. This is it.
So your choices for that second wild card are pretty much Chargers or Bills, unless the Titans turn it around.
I mean, schedule against the Titans, they're playing versus the Rams and the Jaguars. There's no way they are winning those two after dropping the last 2 games that they should have won.
Yeah, two teams that are hot. The cooling off team's not going to win that one.
You know what? I'm saying Ravens, and I'm gonna root for the Bills. I mean, the Chargers.
I have to root against them. I talk so much shit, so
Yeah.
even though I technically like their QB, I think he's a good QB.
What
he got the
about
raw end of the deal?
Gavin? What about the NFC?
Obviously the Eagles and Vikings have theirs. Let me look at the schedules here real quick.
I think Saints win the division.
Yeah, I think Saints will win the division as well. And then Panthers with the first wild card. Rams winning their division, and then the last wild card spot's going to go to Detroit.
Wow.
We're going to win out. We're going to beat Cincy. We're going to beat the Aaron Rodgers-less Packers. The Falcons are going to fumble as they play the Saints at home, and then the Panthers. Both those teams are going to be wanting to win, and I think the Falcons are struggle too much. They're going to get knocked out.
You know what? That's actually a pretty good point. But the Falcons do have the tiebreaker, so the Lions would have to win out, and the Falcons would have to lose out. Correct?
Correct.
And I see it. I got the Saints winning this week, and the Panthers winning the week after.
Ooh.
That's quite possible.
I'm taking Atlanta, but it's very close. It's huh?
Bitter.
No, it's gonna be a sweet end to the season. I can't wait. Week 16 is gonna be great, and we'll be back to talk some more shit for Week 16. Thanks for listening. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Yep.
Thanks for having me.
Yep, and we'll be back next week. Peace out, guys.